Internet sleuths have begun to point the fingers at Bill Gates, and the hashtag Bill Gates bioterrorist started to trend on Twitter. Kim Iversen started that one.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. After a clip of Gates predicting the next pandemic would be pox made the rounds. Let's watch that.
So I'm hoping in 5 years I can write a book called, We Are Ready for the Next Pandemic. But it'll take tens of billions in R&D that the US and the UK will be part of that. It'll take probably about $1 billion a year for a pandemic task force at the WHO level, which is doing the surveillance and actually doing what I call germ games, where you practice. You say, okay, what if a bioterrorist brought smallpox to 10 airports? How would the world respond to that? That there's naturally caused epidemics and bioterrorism caused epidemics that could even be way worse than what we experience today. And yet the advances in medical science should give us tools that we could do dramatically better.
Right. And there's the way he says that is in fact kind of creepy. And I was joking before. What I agree with Kim on is that there's a certain enjoyment in governing people and setting rules for people, and in experimentation that comes through in a lot of what the public health establishment sounds like when they talk about these things, and they have with the gain of function research, with those kinds of things that we are concerned about, have shown an indifference to side effects from research. They don't want scrutiny, they don't want transparency, they don't want to be told they can't do it. And there's an experimentation mindset that comes through in remarks like that
Right.
I think can be concerning.
Yeah, and so this was from November 2021, and Gates was explaining why the World Health Organization would need an extra $1 billion a year for a global pandemic task force, which is what he said in that video. I wish he would focus more on the risks of some of this. So when he alludes to surveillance, all right, surveillance, okay, yes. But surveillance can also be risky. Surveillance can mean sending people, researchers, into bat caves in places outside of Wuhan or Western China, and grabbing samples, and then taking those samples back to a lab and studying those samples. Doesn't even necessarily mean you're adding any function to them. You're just studying them and trying to figure out, because there is a rationale to it. It's like, okay, we need to know what's in this cave, because these bats go in and out of the cave, and because there's so much crowding of human population toward these areas, that there could be some interaction between this cave and the people, or livestock, and the livestock and then the people. So there's some obvious benefit to knowing that. At the same time, people like Gates need to recognize the risk of doing that as well, because now you're taking what could be a virus that was never going to leave that cave, carrying it out of the cave, and bringing it back to the lab. And there are plenty of people who think that is a perfect explanation for actually what happened with coronavirus.
And the issue being that we don't even have a lot of good evidence. No one has really made the argument that even doing that kind of surveillance has a benefit. So it's not even like we have to stack that against the possible harms.
Right.
We don't have a benefit to even stack against the harms.
Right, because you just get a list of the things that are dangerous, and you're like, okay, these things are dangerous. And the best example...
And now they're dangerous because you listed them, because you took them out of you went into the cave to count them.
And the best example being, if you don't believe that COVID came out of the lab, and instead you believe that it originated in this seafood market, this seafood market was walking distance from one of the best funded surveillance labs in the world. So these labs are in charge of surveilling the viruses around the entire globe. They couldn't find one that originated somewhere they could walk in their lunch hour. That's their own theory.
Right.
Like, that's their own theory.
Right.
A lot of people think it actually came from their lab. But if it didn't come from their lab, it was right under their noses and they missed it.
Right. This outbreak, sure, say it originates from the wet market. Right. They're supposed to be tracking these. The outbreak is raging. Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, by the way, yeah.
There.
But hey, there's an outbreak.
Good job, everybody. Good job, everybody.
Guys, an outbreak. Yeah, and then they sit on it for weeks. So, right. So in order to have all of these risks to human civilization, you have to demonstrate some benefits. And so far, you're right, they haven't.
Right.